Hello, everyone. We're going to get started here. My name is Abigail Schulz. I'm the managing partner at Continue to Give. We're very excited to be talking to you about how to sell merchant services for churches and nonprofits. Just a couple house cleaning items today. During the presentation, all attendees will be on mute. So we'll just listen to the presentation as Nick presents here. We will have a question and answer session at the end, and you can submit your questions up in the top for the Q&A. But right now I'd like to turn it over to Nick here. Nick's been working with churches and nonprofits selling the Continue to Give software for a couple of years now. Has a lot of great tips and also direction for how to approach these specific types of merchants. So with that, I'll turn it over to Nick.
Yeah, thank you, Abigail, for the introduction. I appreciate it. Hello, everybody. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. My name's Nick Deluski, and as Abigail mentioned, I've been selling merchant accounts with Continue to Give software for quite some time now. I also have extensive experience in working with just the merchant services industry in general, and it's a privilege to get to share some of my expertise with each of you today. I do have a lot of content to go over, so I'll go ahead and get right into it without wasting too much time here. I know a lot of you that have joined this webinar probably are fairly experienced with merchant accounts in general, so we obviously won't go over the specifics of credit card processing in this presentation, but some of the things that I am going to go over with you are things such as what makes selling a merchant account to nonprofits unique? What does Continue to Give bring to the table? What types of organizations should you be reaching out to? How can you generate leads for your business? How do you get a hold of the decision maker? What features should you promote? And what does the sales process look like versus how can you overcome the competition? So we'll kind of dig right into this, guys. First off, what does Continue to Give and what does it bring to the table? So as you may know, Continue to Give is an online fundraising and giving platform that simplifies the donation and reporting process for nonprofits. As you know, Continue to Give offers churches and other nonprofits the ability to have access to a fundraising website, an online giving page, kiosk giving, mobile giving, and even Facebook integration. Online giving does continue to increase as a significant source of revenue for nonprofits. So while older donors still prefer to use traditional methods to give, the growth of the electronic means to donate is unavoidable. Also, on-site methods to donate are convenient for both of the organizations and their donors. So this is included with Continue to Give software with the giving kiosks. It helps to encourage potential donors to give on-site. Also, with their smartphones, everyone has a smartphone these days. Even your 6-year-old probably has one. So Continue to Give provides the ability for donors to manage and make donations on a mobile platform. Donors do have the ability to give to multiple funds or designations via text to give and can be directed to the mobile platform with a quick QR code scan. Continue to Give is easily integrated, very important with several of the most widely used nonprofit CRMs, such as Church Community Builder and some of the other widely known CRMs, and also has exportable reports that are compatible with some of the other lesser used accounting platforms that aren't as popular. These features are essential to the implementation of electronic giving for nonprofits and are likewise essential for you to be competitive with other solutions, and Continue to Give provides a user-friendly solution for both the organization and their donors, so not to worry. Not only is the platform very easy to use, guys, but it's also up to par with other online giving programs that come with a significantly higher premium. Many of the platforms tag on an enormous fee to use each of these features. Continue to Give is an all-in-one solution. So everyone, first thing that is really necessary to understand when it comes to marketing to nonprofits, what makes selling to nonprofits unique? The nonprofit industry, when you're reaching out to them, it's a completely different ballgame as opposed to reaching out to a for-profit business. There is going to be some similarities, but there also are significant differences, such as For one, ownership. Typically, with a for-profit business, you have the opportunity to speak with a private owner, a lot of times that you can speak with to negotiate a deal. Nonprofits, they're completely separate entities. They don't have a private owner. They're usually operated by a board or by individual voting members. Also, second is the decision maker and getting a hold of who makes the decisions. Because of the difference in the ownership type, this changes things. Determining the decision maker is going to be a lot more of a dynamic process than most traditional businesses. The decision maker can range from simply a bookkeeper that's designated to oversee accounts receivable, all the way to a group of board members or a committee. There's going to be a lot more diversity in that a small church or ministry might have this decision made by a pastor or other leader, whereas the church down the street that's larger might need to take a vote between their staff or elders. So a larger nonprofit organization might also have a committee that you'll need to meet with several times before any decision is made to move forward with the product. And sometimes you may even need to track down a specific executive that is hard to reach. So again, there are a lot of similarities here, but it's generally going to take a lot more feeling out really to determine who the decision maker is in a nonprofit as opposed to with a for-profit business. So third is the sales process. The sales process is typically going to be a lot longer when you're working with any of the churches or ministries or some of the other nonprofit organizations that you'll find around out there. A sale might happen in a couple of days from time to time, but the process is more likely to take several weeks and sometimes even several months. So it's going to be a lot harder to get a decision maker at a nonprofit to make an impulsive decision as well. So it's not just going to be a matter of seeing a favorable cost analysis. In fact, it's usually going to take a lot more than just a cost comparison in order to earn the business of even a smaller nonprofit that is only a couple of people operating it. So we'll talk about this kind of again later in the presentation as we go a little bit through the sales process. But next, really important, this is probably one of your biggest factors here, is the aspect of competition. So you're now going to be competing against just a variety of different options on the market with many different features on the table. So instead of competing with just the basics like a credit card terminal or tiered versus interchange pricing, now you're competing with dozens of other software solutions that are each going to be unique in their own way. Some of you in here might be familiar with other markets that are similar to this, such as point of sale systems, working with those, or at a restaurant, or plugging into accounting software at a doctor or dental office. Kind of similar, a little bit different. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of understanding what you are competing against. You're now not only dealing with merchant services, but you're bringing continue to give to the table in order to convince a merchant to switch processors from also some of the dozens of other software platforms that are out there. So it's not a bad thing. It is a good thing. It ups your advantage. It increases your likelihood of getting the deal. Continue to give definitely offers everything that is needed for them, so not to worry there. And then kind of an extra one I threw in here as well, as I like to put it, is the mission. So kind of a bonus point, but working with nonprofits, it's really a lot of fun compared to working with for-profits. So kind of keep that in mind as you're reaching out to them. There's a higher sense of purpose that you really are doing something to give back to the community. The product that you have access to sell, it possesses the ability to assist the organization with their mission. And as a result, you will also be providing something that has a huge impact on the community that the organization is focusing on. So there's obviously that reward here that does not typically come as often when only working with for-profit businesses. And then this actually brings us now into what kind of organizations should we be reaching out to when targeting nonprofits to make a sale. So really some of the organizations that you can start working with that are a good place to start include local churches, going on Google and maybe searching for local churches in your area. You also have the opportunity to do the same with ministries or missions organizations, like maybe a local rescue mission or a homeless shelter that runs off of donations. And then there's also the opportunity for private schools. I myself, I've enjoyed working with with faith-based schools, and Continue to Give can be a really good fit for the schools that rely on donations to operate. Some other nonprofits that you can also reach out to. The opportunity is really endless here, but children's camps or animal shelters, essentially anything that you really have a passion for. The best place to start is definitely with a nonprofit or group of nonprofits that line up with something maybe that you're passionate with. So this also helps significantly with your ability to relate to the organizations as you're kind of learning the ins and outs of the industry differences here. And for example, myself, I'm particularly passionate for ministry and serving in the church. So for me, it's really easy to relate to some of the Christian churches, ministries, and mission organizations. That's kind of my niche. Use the opportunity to focus on organizations that you can relate to and support. Again, the opportunity here is really endless. Which now brings us into how do we find an organization to reach out to once we decide what kind of organization we do want to reach out to. So a good way to start here on generating leads is reaching out to organizations that you can relate to, again, and maybe one that you're involved with. See if this is something that might be a good fit for that organization. Doing a Google search. If you're an animal lover, you can type in local animal shelters to Google and check out the websites of those that come up and see if they currently are using any electronic means to raise money. If you do a search for local ministries or churches or schools, it's going to populate with several of them. You'll have access to their websites. You can even search other areas to expand or even try online directories. I always like to check out the website of an organization that I'm reaching out to beforehand. So even if you do have an organization that you have in mind, check out their website, get a snapshot of, excuse me, of what they're currently doing for donations. This is also going to lead into eventually customer referrals. Customer referrals are a very, very good source. While we'll go over how the sales process is a little bit longer, just keep in mind that it's very much worth it because organizations will recognize how much time you spend with them and they'll feel comfortable recommending you to other organizations that are in their area or field. And then affiliations. So this leads into affiliate organizations or organizations that might fall under the same umbrella as them. So for example, if you're working with a specific rescue mission, then that opens the door for you to work with other rescue missions as you work with a church that falls within a specific denomination, like maybe a Baptist church or a Pentecostal church. You can now start to branch out to other churches that are within their denomination and use them as a reference once you earn their trust by showing them the value of Continue to Give. You can reach out to the leadership of their denomination and start to get referrals to work with the churches that are under their umbrella. So although it takes a while to complete the sales process, each time that you do close a sale, it does open more affiliate opportunities, and that is going to be one of your best lead sources. Also, it's really important, I can't emphasize really how important this is, but you have to have a landing page on your website. This way, if people do land on your website from Google or anywhere else, they have the opportunity to request information and you will be notified and given their contact information. So Continue to Give does have a really attractive landing slide available that's at your disposal. You can integrate this with your website or you can create your own landing page. I like this one. It gives the interested organization access to a Continue to Give demo, and as long as they enter in their contact information for you to reach out to them, it gives them kind of a little bit to keep them going until you contact them and make a sale to them. So it can be fully customized also and show the name of your company on the page so that you have some exclusivity as far as the landing page goes. And then you can actually reach out to Abigail if you have any questions on how to get that implemented within your website. So next that I have for you is who should you be talking to? So it's always going to be different, to be honest. It's going to take some feeling around, and it could really range anywhere from a bookkeeper or accountant that's designated to dealing with all of the software or accounts receivable. This is what I've run into a lot as I'm working with nonprofits. Sometimes it's a pastor or a ministry leader at an organization that really makes the ultimate decision, but the bookkeeper is the person you're working with. Sometimes it's the opposite. It's really common also that multiple board members or multiple members of the organization are involved in the decision-making process. You may need to do a conference call with several of the board members on multiple occasions in order to pique interest. But this is a good thing because obviously if they are taking the time to meet with you, not only once, but a couple of different times with multiple people, they're probably pretty seriously interested in the features that Continue to Give has to offer. Also, you might end up just working with one person like a CEO or a CFO that kind of just dictates what software they're going to be using. And then after he makes the decision, he might then pass it off to someone like a bookkeeper or another ministry leader in order to actually implement everything as far as getting it on their website and everything like that. So a lot of times also the bookkeeper is the first person that you talk to in my experience. That person usually will then run it by a ministry leader or bring it across to the board or one of the executive officers. I've also experienced the need from time to time to work with an entire team of board members, which is definitely always fun. Again, the good thing here is that if the committee does set aside time to meet with you, you can probably get a good indication that they're pretty seriously interested, and that's a really good sign. They're not gonna do that if they don't have some kind of interest in what you have to offer. A lot of times, if the organization moves forward, you'll also continue to work with that same person that's delegated to work on things, even though it's not maybe the decision maker every time, like a bookkeeper or an individual that's delegated to you as a contact. However, it's really always different. There's a lot of diversity here, and it's important to feel around and use sound judgment with each organization, because as you start to reach out to organizations, you'll notice that there could be two organizations that are very similar that have completely different leadership structures. And then this brings us next into what features we should be promoting. And then I have a video here. We'll come back to this in a minute, actually. But the correct answer really is all of them. But when you're reaching out to an organization, it's really important to know what kind of features you should be promoting more specifically to that organization. I'll let you take a brief look at the flyer that you'll have available to send to prospects for a minute or so. And as you kind of glaze upon this, you can see that some of the key features that Continue to Give has are those such as text to give, the offering kiosk, fundraising, online giving with customized pages. And then there's also real-time reporting, both monthly and yearly. Again, you'll have this flyer or at least something similar as far as marketing material to be available to send to prospects to help with this process. But it's really important to research what features the organization is currently using, like checking out their website, ask what features of their current software are most attractive, ask what they desire to have and what they do not currently have that they wish they could have. Also, if they're not currently using a software, then research other organizations that are similar to them online and market the potential of having an online giving platform. You guys will start to get used to reaching out to organizations that maybe don't have something like this yet, but they are interested in having something like this implemented in the future as they grow and kind of go with the trends of technology. So back to our video here. You definitely approach a prospect differently, kind of depending on the circumstances. But this is something that I prepared for you guys here. And kind of just an example of what it looks like to do a quick search on an organization to research them. And guys, you can use the same principle when you're searching for leads as well. But what I did, I just went over here and I typed into Google churches near me, and a bunch of these different churches came up. So I'm going to go here and select this one, Faith Bible Church. Sounds interesting. So I'm going to go to their website and hit their landing page. I can see they have a button that says give on the top, which means that they probably have electronic giving. I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and I can read through this: giving in the gospel, online giving, recurring gift, one-time gift. And as I click on here, right away, since I've been working on this for a while, I can see that logo that pops up. This is Church Community Builder. Another indication here that of what software this is you might not be able to see it that clearly, but right here in the address bar, you're always going to want to look there and see if it redirected to another, what's called basically a hosted payment page. So that's what they have going on here. And what it says there, it actually has the name of their church .ccbchurch.com. So that's another indication that I know it is Church Community Builder. If I didn't know that it was Church Community Builder, I could type in ccbonline.com, go to their website, and see who it is. A lot of other times, you are going to be able to, on the bottom of the page, also see there will be something around this area. We'll go back here a few steps. Right around here, not all of them have it, but this one has something that says this is provided by Church Community Builder or something of the sort. And you can kind of see what features they have as well. So we'll go forward again here. I can see they have recurring gifts as well. And going into this already, I already know that they have this feature and that feature. I can market to them. And guys, also, one thing to notice here is that CCB is actually a CRM that we are compatible with. So we can actually plug into that and they can still get all of their reporting through Church Community Builder, but not have to go through them for the merchant services or online giving portion. So that's something that if they're using the online giving for CCB, they're 99% using the accounting platform or CRM platform. In fact, I don't think you can even use one without the other. You could use the accounting without the giving, but you can't use the giving without the CRM aspect of it. So another thing that's really something that's important here is this will help with your lead generation is you can actually go up here to About, click on Our Leadership, and you can actually kind of browse what the leadership looks like. Not all of the websites will have this, but it's always a good place to start. So I can see that, let me go back here. So over at Our Leadership, we click on here, we can kind of get a good idea of who their leadership is. This church is fairly large, so this would be probably a pretty profitable account, and we'd really be able to significantly help them with a lot of savings too. The pastor, that's somebody sometimes I might ask for. A lot of times, and especially with a church this large, you're not going to actually really work with the pastor as much. You might say hi to him from time to time. Going down here, just kind of going through a bunch of different staff members here, we get to our elders, and there's a chairman, a vice chairman, and then we have a secretary, secretary, and then there's a treasurer somewhere around here as well. So these are probably closer to the people I'm going to reach out to and kind of gauge and get a feel for which one is responsible for making these types of decisions. You can also usually email people from this, so this is kind of good as far as getting maybe a basic introductory email out to somebody if you are having trouble getting a hold of them. On this one, for example, I can just hover over and click mail on any of these guys, and I can send them an email. So a lot of the websites are going to have this, so this is going to be a really helpful tool, something that I use significantly and very often. And as far as this goes, I may give a church a call and maybe ask for the pastor just to kind of feel around. And as I get kind of interviewed by the gatekeeper, I might say, yeah, it's in regards to your Church Community Builder platform. We have something for you that plugs into it. And they might say, oh, actually Brad handles that. Let me get you over to Brad. I can write that down and then search for his email on here, even if he's not available. Now I know immediately who to ask for the next time. So I also did one more test run for you that's a little bit different here. So just kind of going into Google again, we're gonna go ahead and just randomly, I typed in Kansas City rescue mission. So let's see what comes up. We have a rescue mission, so we'll click on their website. Obviously, their contact information is going to be over here. There's their phone number right here. And then I'm going to go over to kind of browse their website. On the top here, there's a button that says make a gift. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and kind of pique my curiosity. What kind of giving platform are they using right now? Taking a second to load here, but it should go through. So here's their giving page. I can see here that this is what they have. This is the features they have. They have designations here, as you can see, and you also can do your amounts. You can do a one-time or recurring gift by credit card or by debit card. Some of the options on here, not as user-friendly as Continue to Give for sure. I will say that Continue to Give is a much cleaner page that you'll get here, which is a selling point for you guys. I did go on this website beforehand. I wasn't really able to find out briefly what their platform is. Sometimes you'll come across this. A lot of times organizations will have somebody as a web developer go and integrate a payment page into their website. But either way, Continue to Give is going to be a lot more of a cleaner platform for them, and possibly even more affordable for them. So definitely reach out to this organization. And then it does say TrustWave down here, which I believe is their PCI compliance. But you'll come across ministries like this. You'll see they have online giving, but you won't be able to find out who you're competing against. You might have to just kind of call and feel that out. This is also an example of another website that they don't have any leadership posted on the website. So you're just going to kind of be reaching out, finding out who the person that handles this is, without being able to really find out who their leadership is beforehand. So kind of a good example of both of those different aspects there. You would definitely approach a prospect differently if they're already using some of these features. Either way, guys, you're going to want to make it clear that Continue to Give is their best option overall. Continue to Give is also very competitive with the cost, so you'll want to definitely make this obvious. Cost shouldn't be the primary factor in this type of sale, but at the same time, everyone and their brothers are calling these organizations, so definitely cost isn't the only thing. Offering something that's cheaper isn't going to always hit it. It's going to need to take a little bit more to really just gain and pique their interest, but Continue to Give being a long-term solution for the needs of the organization. This is what's going to be the biggest selling factor, and still at the end of the day, we really do have a huge and significant impact as far as the money that they can put back into their organization when they're not paying hundreds of dollars for a software solution. There's organizations that I've worked with that are paying thousands of dollars a year for a software solution that Continue to Give actually has the capability of handling for them. So their relationship with you and Continue to Give closely trails price, but price should only be the icing on the cake. And then the features that are going to be attractive to each organization, they're going to differ. So use your judgment here based off of the research that you've completed while going online and looking at their website, while quizzing them over the phone. And do all of that beforehand before you go in. Don't go in uneducated. The churches are going to, and the nonprofits are going to really respect that you already know what's going on with their organization before you call and that you're not clueless. So moving on. What does the sales process look like for this market? So really, this is actually what we've been going through on the whole slide, kind of behind the scenes here, is kind of just stepping you through the sales process. So kind of what it looks like. As you can tell, the basics are pretty similar. Ultimately, you're going to want to find someone that has need for the product, whether it's a church or ministry or another type of nonprofit. So use your lead generation here. Generate the organizations that you're going to want to be contacting. Do those Google searches and whatnot, and find an organization base that you want to reach out to and try to help. Next is contacting the decision maker, meeting with them, and this one you're going to kind of have to feel it out a little bit. It's, as we've discussed, a little bit different as far as the individual that is going to be responsible for this is going to vary tremendously between organizations, even similar organizations in most cases. So that's going to be kind of, it's fun actually. As you kind of get used to that, you'll get to talk to some interesting people there. And then you're going to want to emphasize, of course, the value that Continue to Give has through your presentation, delivering a product demo if needed, and then still doing a cost comparison if that's what it takes to kind of convince them on the merchant services side. And then finally, you're going to kind of close everything up, seal your loose ends, answer any additional questions, and then definitely work on, as you're going through this process, developing the relationships with these organizations and the individuals that are working for them as your contact there. This is how we're going to really beat the competition here. I strongly emphasize the importance of being genuine with building the relationship with anyone that you talk to. And we know that this is really important in any sale, but it's even far more important with nonprofits because of the nature of the organization and its mission. The organizations that you speak to, the individuals working there, are going to highly respect when you can really relate to their cause and their mission. So the biggest differences here, really, in spite of all the similarities, is just the difference in the diversity and competition, and the impact that you can have on the community is going to be tremendously higher than when you're working with for-profits. So, and keep in mind, guys, that the sales process for these organizations is typically going to take a lot longer. The sales process is very consultative, and because of this, it will also have an effect on your pipeline, since you aren't going to have a bunch of deals to close overnight. However, it's going to be worth it. And as you start to build relationships with organizations that have affiliations with hundreds of other organizations, you can also start to market to them as well, and you won't regret it. So don't be discouraged if you're not getting sales right away. It takes time to build up a pipeline with this, and it may even be a good idea to kind of go around to different types of organizations so you have a good selection, not having all your eggs in one basket, so to say, so that you really create a diverse pipeline there. And then kind of bringing into how do we leverage Continue to Give to overcome the competition? And it's pretty simple, really. Right here, remaining persistent in the sales process, especially if you're slowly building your pipeline. It's not going to build itself overnight, so you'll need to be persistent. And essentially what you're doing here is you're really using Continue to Give as a means to convince people to switch over and use your services with Continue to Give, really just as a huge tool at your disposal. So be sure to understand the competition and compare that to Continue to Give. Learn the features of not only Continue to Give, but your competition as well. Even if it means spending a couple of hours each week researching other platforms, it's going to pay off significantly and really increase your sales. It's also important that you not only show, but really develop a genuine concern for the needs of your prospect in order to be successful. And not only nonprofit marketing, but in sales period, you really want to have a genuine concern for what your prospect is going to be getting from you if they decide to go with your services. They'll be able to tell the enthusiasm even in your voice as you're selling the services to them, and building a lasting relationship with your clients and or with your customers. As the prospect becomes a customer, this will go a long way when it comes to reviews and referrals later down the road as well. as your customers start to highly respect you and develop a relationship with you, they're not gonna mind going out on a limb, and it's really not going out on a limb anymore to recommend you to the nonprofit that their cousin works at, or another nonprofit that they volunteer with, or maybe their local church that they attend outside of work. So kind of keep those things in mind, and the opportunities are really endless here. I mean, you can really have a significant impact, and definitely get an opportunity, at least if not 100% of the time, a high amount of time, to really reach out to those organizations that you love and support, and really genuinely help them to have something that is going to be more affordable for them and make things a lot easier. So that's pretty much all I have for you at this time, but feel free to shoot over your questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. I think Abigail is going to relay those over to me.
Yep, so we'll just give you a few seconds here to type in any questions you have. I see some coming in already. So I'm just going to start off with the first one here for you, Nick. So the question relates to going back when you're talking with, for example, a Bethany Baptist church, really working at the different interconnections of the nonprofit market. So the question is, once they get the first church, is the sales process different, or how do they work on getting all their sister churches then?
Yeah, so that's actually a fantastic question. And so something like Bethany Baptist Church, for example, you may work on selling an account to them for a few months and then get everything up and running. And then typically, I would say at first is that you're going to want to kind of plant the seed to let them know that you are interested in also earning the business of their sister churches. But at the same time, you don't want to rush them into it as well. You want to really give them at least some time to get comfortable with the software and get familiar with it, and then kind of follow up with them. A lot of times I'll reach out to see how everything's going, kind of do like a customer service more type of call, and reach out and make sure everything is going well with the organization and that they're not having any trouble with the software. And then kind of slipping in, hey, how about, I see Bethany Bible Church has a sister organization. You may have talked with them about it already, and then asking who the best person to talk with over there is, or asking if that individual works with that organization as well. And then some of the organizations, they're going to have that same person actually is going to be responsible a lot of times for managing the accounts at the other sister organizations, just depending on how many sister organizations they have. And then finally, there is going to be some churches out there that have hundreds of locations, like maybe your Calvary chapels or Harvest Bible chapels, or you name it, or like the Southern Baptist denomination, that are going to have lots of churches out there. And then you can kind of reach out and just, hey, I work with so-and-so church over here, and I thought that I would give you a call because you might be able to benefit from the service as well. So definitely there's a lot of different things you can do. We can probably do an entire webinar on that. But I hope that answers that question at least a little bit to get that started.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. And also, too, I see a lot of questions are coming in. If we don't get to your question today, we'll answer a few more, but we will personally email you with a response to your question. Some of the questions that are coming in are just about the presentation and the slides, if they're available. We will make these available for you, and this was also recorded as well. We had another question come in that was very specific to the question you were just answering, Nick. And are there specific denominations that are better to call on versus other denominations?
That's actually, that's a fantastic question. And I would say that you're going to have some of your denominations out there that are going to be more, there's going to be less millennials that typically attend them. You'll kind of get a feel for this as you go along. I've noticed that, I guess it's not really going to be as much denomination specific as it is going to be more related to the demographics. But there is going to be sometimes where you'll notice, you can even tell on the website that it's really just more of an older congregation, and they're not going to really be open to doing anything besides checks in the offering plate if it's a church, or mailing it in if it's another organization. But I would not hesitate to reach out to these organizations. Eventually, it's just unavoidable. As the way technology is going, I'd be surprised if 10, 15 years from now they even have paper checks around. I mean, banks are pretty much forcing you to get a debit card and making it difficult to get checks these days. So yes, there is going to be, I wouldn't say specific denominations, but there is going to be groups of churches in certain demographics that maybe just aren't going to really be interested in anything electronic or anything like that. But essentially, aside from that, a lot of the denominations are going to be really good to work with. Maybe if there's one that you don't agree with necessarily, it might be a little bit harder for you to reach out to, but I would just, I'd really urge you guys to, if there's anybody that's a believer in here reaching out to Christian organizations, I would really just encourage you to not get caught up on like the doctrines of what each church denomination teaches, and more focus on helping them as brothers and sisters in Christ to get something up and running for their church, unless it's something like really crazy or anything like that. But I hope that kind of answers that question as well.
Yeah, Nick. And too, I wanted to kind of expound on that. As we see different sales coming in, typically evangelical churches are really a great option. The Bethany Baptist, Pentecostal, Harvest Chapel, Spanish churches are really great as well. They definitely want to be in this too. So just some great starting points. Also, another really great starting point would be if you're specifically interested in churches and the denomination, starting with the church you currently attend, or also the churches your family or extended family attends, and then building that relationship from there, because then you would have your foot in the door for that. We do have one other question here that I think would be really important before we wrap up the question and answers. And like I said, anybody whose question wasn't answered today, we will email out. And after the presentation, you will be redirected to personally my open calendar to schedule a meeting with me or a demo if that's something that you need. So the question is, once the merchant has decided on Continue to Give, do we hand them off to you? So Continue to Give is unique in how we handle the customers. Basically, we are available to help you through the sales process with questions, help you if you have a specific client that has maybe some questions you don't know. So we're helping you through that sales process. So let's say they say yes. What do? You would first have them sign for the merchant account and get approved just like you would any other merchant. Make sure that you are setting them up for the API integration. So that's how all the Continue to Give software plugs in. Once you have your client actually approved with a merchant account and they've signed the Continue to Give software agreement, that one-page agreement, yes, then you can hand them off to us. We do have an onboarding process of 24-hour business hour setup, so we're really quick in our turnaround time. And then we do have a customer support team that will help your church or nonprofit get things set up, such as like the online giving on their website, the Facebook integration, anything they need help with. They will have access to all of that right away, but we do have a dedicated support line to assist them. We do also send out emails to them as well, trying to show them how to use their text-to-donate numbers, videos to get their donors interested. So we do really support this product after that sale is complete, and we do kind of take that over for you. So that's a very good question. So I just want to thank you, Nick, for presenting for us today, and thank you, everybody, for coming. The slides, again, will be available, and also a recording of this demo. If you do think that this webinar was really helpful for you and you have other people on your team that would like to attend this same webinar, we will be having this webinar again Wednesday the 17th at 4 p.m. Central. If you need another invite to send out to any of your teammates, please let us know. But this will be presenting again, like I said, Wednesday 17th at 4. And after I end this webinar here, you will be redirected to the scheduling page for my open calendar. If you need to schedule a time with me, schedule a demo, anything additional that you would like us to answer, you can go ahead and do that. Or you can always email in additional questions if you have them later, or if you need any sales help at the continuetogive@continuetogive.com. Both Nick and I will be watching that email for questions or additional things that you would need help with. So Nick, thank you for presenting for us today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you everybody for taking the time to join the webinar. Have a blessed day.